Are you tired of going to the doctor with the same issue over and over again and never getting any relief? Are you tired of buying all types of vitamins and supplements, hoping but not knowing for sure that they will keep you healthy? Or are you getting enough of the right kind of nutrients that your specific body needs? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you need a nutritional blood analysis. With a nutritional blood analysis, we can take one drop of blood from a prick of your finger and analyze your body's nutritional needs, nutritional deficiencies, and nutritional imbalances. This analysis can provide an early warning of possible future health challenges so you can make the changes now to avoid the negative outcome. A nutritional blood analysis can be used to monitor a health challenge before and after adopting an approach to restore health and balance. It will also allow you the ability to determine the effectiveness of various approaches to restoring and balancing your health. So don't wait. Make your appointment. Stop guessing with your health. Know what works for sure. 901-602-7063.
Graphic Printing, located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, a complete print shop for all your printing needs. They do it all: color copy, resume, funeral program, rubber stamp, full color business cards, wedding and graduation invitations, and more. 30 plus years of quality work and service. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, Tennessee, 901-345-9294. Graphic Printing. CJ Used Appliances, located at 3530 Jackson Avenue here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-487-7882. CJ Used Appliances have the best prices in town. Sales and service, heating and air. Also the best appliances you'll find anywhere in the Mid-South. Refrigerators, microwave stoves, washers and dryers, deep freezers, dishwashers, whatever you need in used appliances. And folks will tell you they're the best used appliances anywhere you'll find. That's CJ Used Appliances, 3530 Jackson Avenue. All appliances come with warranty. You can call them at 901-487-7882. Again, 901-487-7882. CJ Used Appliances. C&S Motors Auto Sales, located at 2508 Summer Avenue, here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-323-8778. C&S Motors Auto Sales has been around since 1984. Go by and see Chris today. Some of the best pre-owned and used vehicles in the city. They have SUVs, minivans, cars, trucks, whatever you're looking for in pre-owned used vehicles. Hey, you can find it right there at C&S Motors Auto Sales. See Chris since 1984. They will treat you right. Call them at 901-323-8778. That's 901-323-8778. 2508 Summer Avenue, C&S Motors Auto Sales.
This is Sergeant Chris Richardson with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, here to explain the Tennessee Hands-Free Law, which is a new state law effective July 1st, 2019. In Public Chapter 412, it makes it illegal for a driver to hold a cell phone or a mobile device with any part of their body, to write, send, or read any text-based communication, to reach for a cell phone or a mobile device in a manner that requires the driver to no longer be in a seated driving position or properly restrained by a seatbelt, to watch a video or a movie on a cell phone or a mobile device, and to record or broadcast video on a cell phone or a mobile device. So, can I still talk on my cell phone while driving? Yes. A driver is permitted to use an earpiece, headphone device, or a device worn on a wrist to conduct a voice-based communication. The driver may use one button on a cell phone or mobile device to initiate or terminate voice communication, and voice-based communication may also be used to send a text message. Learn more at handsfreetn.com.
And welcome to another edition live of Talkback Live Sports. Coming to y'all wherever you may be, however you may be listening. Man, we definitely appreciate y'all for checking me out once again on this Tuesday. Well, not Tuesday. Good grief. It's Tuesday, man. Wow. I don't know why it feels like it's later than that, man. But this Tuesday afternoon, and man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, for sharing this video as well. If you go ahead and do that, I would definitely appreciate that as well. And man, we got a loaded episode for you guys on this afternoon. I'm gonna debut the segment, the business of sports. My guest joining me will be Dominic Lawson, so y'all stay tuned for that. We're gonna talk about some things going on involving NCAA, involving college sports, and more. So y'all stay tuned for that, and that's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to that first edition on today. But man, I'm going to get it kicked off, reminding you guys, first of all, you can call into the show 901-213-6020. Once again, it's 901-213-6020 is the number to call in and join the conversation and do all of those things there. So we definitely appreciate that. Also, follow us on social media. On Twitter at TalkBackLive. That's one word, at TalkBackLive. Also, Facebook.com. Just search TalkBackLive with Bob and Josh. And I like our page there, as well as WTL Live Network and the main Talkback Live Network Facebook page as well. And you can keep up with everything Talkback Live related. So once again, I appreciate everybody that's coming in and tuning in as of right now. We're going to get this thing kicked off. My guest will be joining me probably in about 15-20 minutes coming up here soon. But I'm going to get into some things right now that are interesting in the sports world. So right now, situation in the NFL where things are changing. For some people say for the better. Some people think otherwise, including some former players. And I guess this all depends on your perspective on what better is. But we'll see, man. But here's what's going on. So the latest of this last type of situation is Jalen Ramsey, who is the defensive back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has come out and said, hey, look, I want to be traded. I want out of here. I'm trying to win, and I don't think this team that I'm on right now is trying to win. I can't deal with it anymore. I'm tired of waiting, and I'm ready to get on with it, man, and get on with my career because I've spent too long in this situation. Now, to the Jaguars, ever since Jalen Ramsey got there, better. Not too long ago, it was a couple of seasons ago, the Jaguars were in the AFC title game, taking on the Patriots for a spot in the Super Bowl. They came up short in a game that was closer than most people expected it to be. And that was a few years ago. And Jalen Ramsey was one of the guys leading the charge of saying, hey, look, we're here. The Jaguars are here to stay, and we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Well, it didn't happen last year. And they kind of fell back down to earth in the worst way possible that you could fall back down to earth. And now, starting the season not too well again for the Jaguars. And Jalen Ramsey's like, look, I've had enough. I'm ready to get up out of here. This has been a trend. Before I get deeper into that situation, this has been a growing trend in the NFL, if you guys have noticed, especially heading into this season, that more and more players are demanding their way out of their current situations. More and more players are getting what they want. And just, for example, look at what happened with Antonio Brown. Now, I know he's got a lot of drama going on in his life, but besides that point, think about how he ended up where he's on a team that's a perennial championship contender. No matter what you think about the Patriots, that's what they are, and that's what they've been. They've been greatness. But he ended up there by raising Cain with the Steelers and causing enough of a ruckus and complaining enough that he's like, hey, look, I don't want to play for you anymore. What are you going to do? You can't force me to play. So either you move me and keep me from being a distraction to your team, or I'm just going to be here and be a distraction and act a fool and throw a temper tantrum and all this stuff. And the Steelers were like, hey, well, we're going to that was when he ended up in Oakland. Then he has a difference of opinion with them in training camp, acts a fool up to the umpteenth degree, and then he gets released, and then he ends up in New England, where he has been the perfect soldier, at least up until this point. So one has to wonder, and some people are starting to, even in NFL circles, and wondering, is the NFL starting to become the NBA now? Is this one of those things that we're going to have to worry about? Some NFL general managers starting to think this, and some former players are starting to think this as well. The NFL is usually a place where you come, you play, no matter how you feel, and you just do your job. But now, at least this season, you're seeing a lot of teams and players force their way out of this situation to get to a better situation. Let's look at Miami. The Miami Dolphins are terrible. Off to a terrible start. Only 2 weeks into the season. But they're off to a terrible start, and they don't look like they're going to get any better. They look like probably the worst team in football. But all that considered, it's amazing it seems like half of that team is demanded to be traded. At least 5 or 6 guys. Pretty good players. On top of that, I think a lot of playoff teams or teams that want to be playoff contenders could use. Topping it off with the guy named Minkah Fitzpatrick, who is a big-time safety, secondary player for the Dolphins, a guy that was an absolute monster at Alabama at his position. And he's demanded a trade a few days ago, and now he's a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's down there. That happened last night, as a matter of fact. And so you look at all these things, you put all these factors together, and you begin to wonder, okay, is this the way to do things? Now, a lot of people, if you're a sports purist, if you're a coach, or if you're whoever, I'm sure you don't like to see, this type of, prisoners running the asylum, so to speak. I don't know if that's the correct phrase to use, prisoners, but you know what I mean. It's an expression. And where the guys that are supposed to be, the players and supposed to be listening to their coaches and the owners and general managers, they're taking it upon themselves and using their leverage to, force a move for themselves. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing for the league? I guess that's up to interpretation, depending upon who you are. But there's an interesting quote here from Steve Young, former quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers Hall of Famer and all of that. And he doesn't like it one bit what's going on. And he made it known here in this clip I'm about to play here in a second. So y'all take a listen to this, and I'll be back in a second. All right, so there's some what Steve Young, there's some what Steve Young had to say there. And you can see he was upset, man. He's like, man, look, this is one of those things where the NFL is going to have to come together as a league and say, we're not going to do this. That was some of the quote, because it would be insane. Everybody that's on a bad team is like, get me out of here. And that's what's going on. Get me out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't stand losing, and I want out. And that's what's happening. Players are kind of taking their power and using it to get off the team that they're on. Now, look, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to be on a team that stinks. I mean, who would want that, right? But at the end of the day, you're on that team. You kind of made a commitment to a certain degree. But is that the right way to look at it? Is that the right way to look at it? Or, should players be able to do whatever they want to do, and the owners and the coaches just have to suck it up and deal with it? I don't know. Now, one thing, and like I said earlier, when you talk about the NBA, and Steve Young, if you heard him in the video, he said, hey, this is becoming like the NBA. This is crazy. We all know the NBA has been like this for a long, long time. I mean, this is nothing new in terms of the National Basketball Association and, guys forcing their ways to make moves and to do this and to do that for their organization. But, should that be a thing? Should that be something that should be allowed for these players to come up here and demand that they do this and that? I got a couple comments coming in. Andre Becton says, no, the player do. Now tell me what you mean. Like, what are you saying no to? Are you saying no that this shouldn't be allowed? Or you know that they should be allowed to do so? Okay, there you go. He said since LeBron. That's true. LeBron was probably the ultimate catalyst of this type of stuff happening. You think back to, the decision going to Miami, taking his talents to South Beach, that whole deal. That was the beginning of players realizing that they had influence over their career decisions, and even to the point of forcing their way out of situations, whether the team wanted them to do it or not. Now, I must admit, there's part of me that is like, you know what? I kind of like this because, hey, if you don't want to be somewhere, nobody should force you to stay, right? It's almost like the theory you use with relationships. If it ain't working out between you and your girl, then you need to break it off. Don't force it to fit if it ain't working. And if the player says it's not working, then maybe you should let him go. But it's a curious situation, man. And some of y'all just coming in, I appreciate that. Come on in to join the conversation. What we're talking about is the NFL becoming like the NBA to a certain extent. Because, like I said, you got players starting to force their ways out of situations now. As I listed Antonio Brown, I listed so many other guys, Minka Fitzpatrick with the Dolphins, several other teams, Jalen Ramsey is the latest one today to say, hey, look, get this, I'm out, type of deal. Is that a good thing for pro sports? Is that a good example to be lending to younger kids? Because y'all got to think about this now. Even though, like I said, these are grown men, and at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do, and the owner's going to have to kind of adjust that. But at the same time, look how it's trickling down the ladder of sports. Look at AAU basketball. Look at high school basketball now, especially in the city of Memphis here. You got players moving teams left and right. You got middle schoolers doing this. They want to join up with their best friends over here at so-and-so middle, and have a baby dream team over here because they want to play together. Or they like the coach telling them to do this, they're transferring over here. And the same thing's happening at the AAU level. Is that a good thing to spread throughout all levels, or should it only be appropriate at a certain level in professional sports? You can call in. Got a few minutes before my guest to join me. So if you want to get in, call real quick here, 901-213-6020. As you see scrolling there. That's what those letters and numbers are, in case you were wondering. You could join the conversation. But it's one of those things, man. Like I said, I could see the pros and the cons of players forcing themselves out of situations. Antonio Brown, no matter what you think of the guy, he ended up in a situation where he's on a winning franchise. Now, whether he stays there, that's up to him. But he forced his way out, and now he's there. Now, and then all these other guys are starting to do the same thing. Let me read some more here. Andre Beckton said it should be allowed because the owner and the team can let a player go at any point in time. He also says, without the players, what do you have? Really? For a chance to win, bottom line, that's what sports is about, winning. I agree, and that's a good point, but let's look at this. Think about, or should the teammates, camaraderie with your team matter? Should trust matter? Because you look at these guys, man, even in the case of LeBron, and now, of course, you're not going to doubt LeBron. You probably doubt him, but you're not going to question him to his face probably if you're a teammate. But you got to be thinking in the back of your mind, man, I'm here, I love playing for this guy, but how long until he leaves again? Can I trust that he's going to be able to stick it out for the long haul? And LeBron, maybe he can do that because he's the best, but the guys that are lower on the totem pole of talent. You got guys that probably can't even play that are saying, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to force my way out. Well, one, I guarantee those teams will be a lot more willing to let you go. But two, is that almost ruining sports to a degree? You can just quit whenever you feel like it because it's getting too hard for you? Or should it be looked at that way? Y'all give me your thoughts. 901-213-6020. Also, continue to leave your comments down there. Frankie, I see you coming in. I appreciate you. I see Jet coming in the building as well. Andre Beckton been communicating pretty well. I appreciate that, man. Some good comments. Now, Jalen Ramsey said the other day that he said, man, I just want to win. It was a lot more explicit than that and a lot more curse words. But he said, basically, I want to win. I don't want to lose. And nobody wants to lose. I mean, you want a guy that's competitive and a guy that wants to win at all costs. But at the same time, can it be considered quitting if you're constantly bouncing from team to team because you lost a game? And again, I played the clip from Steve Young. I may play it again because a lot of y'all were not there when I played the clip. But here's Steve Young. GKP, what's going on, man? Talking about NFL. Is the NFL becoming like the NBA, where players can come and go as they please and demand their way out of their contracts? And is that a good thing? Because you're seeing that more and more. Let me go to Steve Young, and I'll be right back. And there it is from the Hall of Famer, Steve Young, giving his thoughts, man. It's pretty interesting. GKP, what's going on, brother? I saw you a little bit earlier, man. I had to catch the replay. I missed when you were actually on. But definitely shout out to you, man, for coming in today on this conversation. Give me your thoughts, man. Was Steve Young, was he overreacting? Or is this a thing that should be a concern to not only NFL teams, but their general managers? Donna, what's going on, Donna? See you coming in there. We are talking about NBA versus NFL. Not in the aspect of what's better, but is the NFL being influenced by the NBA, at least the players, with a lot of these starting to demand to be traded. This was not a thing that you saw all the time in the NFL, but now, just in the first 2 weeks, you're seeing players ready to get out of there. The biggest example, as I said earlier, is the Miami Dolphins. Look at the Dolphins. They start off 0-2. They look like a high school JV team. They don't even look varsity. They look like a JV team. And those guys are ready to leave after the first 2 games. And after the first game, there were at least 3 or 4 guys that demanded to be traded immediately. Minka Fitzpatrick just got traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers last night, yesterday late evening into last night, that trade was completed. That's a guy that's a big time guy with a lot of Pro Bowl potential. It's a good move for the Steelers. But what do we do here? Do we quit when things look bad? 2 games into the season, I think I would understand a little bit more if it's a little deeper in the season. You know, you want to get traded. Maybe it's close to the trade deadline and you want to, see if a team can make a move or whatever. But you're 2 games in and you're ready to quit. That almost lends credence to me that you're ready to quit before the season started. And that's not good. Maybe the occasional guy here and there. But to have it like this, Antonio Brown forced his way out of Pittsburgh, traded to Oakland, Oakland gave up a lot for Antonio Brown. I'm not defending, I'm not a fan of Gruden or the Oakland Raiders, to be honest with you, but they gave up a lot for Antonio Brown. Gruden took a chance on him. And because he didn't like his helmet, and, the way that the Raiders were treated at the end there, even though he was the one causing most of the problems, he said, "Get me out of here." He forced them to make a move, and they cut him. And he got signed by the Patriots, which ended up to be right where he wanted to be. So who really won? I guess you could say the Raiders, maybe. I don't think so. They don't have a star receiver anymore. The only thing the Raiders won out on is not having to pay him. But other than that, you got this big old hole at the receiver. And the Patriots get him for a lot less. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost one of those things. There's a culture in sports developing where these guys are quitting on teams just to get to where they want. And is that a good or a bad thing? I'm not making the ultimate judgment because I can't. But I'm just giving my opinion, and I can see both sides of the issue. But y'all let me know. GKP says, I agree with Steve Young. Okay. Donna's in there. Let me know what you think, Donna. I know you're a big Cowboys fan. Y'all could have been suffering from this. Ezekiel Elliott, who's signed now, but he was willing to sit out as long as possible, probably the whole season, if he didn't get the contract that he wanted. We all know it came right up to the week of the game before that deal was done. It's one of those things that continues to prevail itself in sports. But it's up to y'all. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. I'm also giving you a little sneak peek. Not like I'm showing you anything, but just a little sneak peek of what I plan on talking about with my guest in the next few minutes. And that is Tim Tebow. Now, Tim Tebow kind of made some headlines recently. And that's a name, a lot of people hadn't heard in a while, Tim Tebow. What's Tim Tebow got going on these days? Well, Tebow is making some people upset with his opinion on whether college athletes should be paid or not. And to be honest with you, I've been a Tebow fan ever since his days at Florida. I supported Tebow for a lot of reasons, and including the football field, because I did think, Tebow Mania was quite outstanding. It was almost one of those once-in-a-lifetime situations that happened with him and the Denver Broncos. But all that being said, I think I've run into something that I disagree with Tim Tebow on. And he voiced his opinions very strongly against college football players and college athletes getting paid, because he feels like it ruins the sanctity of college sports. It ruins the experience of playing college sports. He says you're ruining the game. This is not professional football. This is college football. And you're not a professional, you're a college athlete. And that's according to Tim Tebow. And if you start letting players be able to have agents, then you're going to ruin the game. That's what Tim Tebow says. And that kind of surprised me, to say the least, especially a guy that was such a prominent figure in college football. So I'm going to see if I can play this clip here. This audio is not a video, but it's the audio version of what Tim Tebow had to say on I believe it was First Take with Stephen A. and Max Kellerman on ESPN. Of course, that's a popular show. So y'all take a listen and give me your thoughts. Do you think Tebow was out of line here? Was he shooting off, as some people like to say?
I have a little credibility and knowledge because when I was at the University of Florida, I think my jersey was one of the top selling jerseys around the world. It was like Kobe, LeBron, and then I was right from it, but nor did I want to, because I knew going into college what it was all about. I knew going to Florida, my dream school, where I wanted to go, the passion for it, and if I could support my team, support my college, support my university, that's what it's all about. But now we're changing it from us, from we, from my university, from being an alumni where I care, which makes college football and college sports special, to then, okay, it's not about us, it's not about we, it's just about me. And yes, I know we live in a selfish culture where it's all about we're just adding and piling it onto that, where it changes what's special about college football. We turn it into the NFL, where who has the most money, that's where you go. That's why people are more passionate about college sports than they are about NFL. That's why the stadiums are bigger in college than they are in the NFL, because it's about your team, it's about your university, it's about where my family wanted to go, it's about where my grandfather had a dream of seeing Florida win an SEC championship, and you're taking that away so that young kids can earn $1. And that's just not where I feel like college football needs to go.
That's fair,
There's that opportunity in the NFL, but not in college football.
So that's Tim Tebow. He's like, man, this is taking away the sanctity of college sports. How dare college football even think about paying players? How dare they? Tim Tebow. I'm gonna play that again. That was a very passionate Tim Tebow, kind of going in on you guys that think that. So check this out again. Listen. Remember, this is not an audio. It's not a video. It's an audio. So y'all take a listen again.
I feel like I have a little credibility and knowledge about this because when I was at the University of Florida, I think my jersey was one of the top selling jerseys around the world. It was like Kobe, LeBron, and then I was right behind them, and I didn't make $1 from it. But nor did I want to, because I knew going into college what it was all about. I knew going to Florida, my dream school, where I wanted to go, the passion for it, and if I could support my team, support my college, support my university, that's what it's all about. But now we're changing us, from we, from my university, from being an alumni where I care, which makes college football and college sports special, to then, okay, it's not about us, it's not about we, it's just about me. And yes, I know we live in a selfish culture where it's all about us, but we're just adding and piling it onto that, where it changes what's special about college football. We turn it into the NFL, where who has the most money, that's where you go. That's why people are more passionate about college sports than they are about NFL. That's why the stadiums are bigger in college than they are in the NFL, because it's about your team, it's about your university, it's about where my family wanted to go, where my grandfather had a dream of seeing Florida win an SEC championship, and you're taking that away so that young kids can earn $1. And that's just not where I feel like college football needs to go. There's that opportunity in the NFL, but not in college football.
Well, Stephen A. saying that's fair. There's nothing fair about it, to be honest with you. And Tebow, like I said, I was a fan of Tebow in college and professionally and everything else, and personally as well. But as far as this opinion, I feel like it's extremely ignorant. And here's the thing. First of all, Tebow, you can't tell me you would not take that money if you, as marketable as Tim Tebow was at the time, the top selling jersey in the world, you can't tell me that you would not take that money if you had the opportunity to. First of all, that's number one. And there's nothing wrong with taking that money. There's nothing shameful about taking that money. That's what I don't understand. That's what the NCAA is trying to shame these athletes into taking this money. Like this is such a terrible thing to do or something. It's a pathetic excuse of a reason to not pay these guys. See, what you're saying, what Tim Tebow said there was dripping with entitlement. It was dripping with privilege. That's the problem. Do you know how many college athletes are out here struggling to make meet on a day-to-day basis? They're out here playing and making billions of dollars for a university. Billions of dollars. The university is selling their likeness. They're selling posters of them pictures with their pictures on it. They're selling their likenesses. You know what I'm saying? They're making billions on these TV contracts with these guys out there killing themselves on the football field. And that's just football. That's not to talk about basketball. That's not to talk about baseball. That's not to talk about soccer or hockey or all the other sports that are going on or whatever else you want to mention. It's all the same thing. Now, basketball and football are kings of that sport, but nonetheless, these universities are making all this money, and Tim Tebow has the nerve to say it's about passion. Well, what makes you think you don't have passion anymore if you want to get for your work? That I don't understand. You can still be just as passionate for your school while doing business on the side. And this isn't even a thing, what's being going on now, that's being presented right now. It's not even a thing where the colleges have to pay all the boatloads of money that they make. They don't even have to do that. The legislation that's being pushed right now is giving college football players and college athletes, period, that feel that they're marketable enough to hire themselves an agent and to get themselves their own endorsements, their own deals, to make money off their own likenesses, their own names. What's the problem with that? You ain't robbing the school. You're not robbing the athletes. You're not robbing your family or your grandfather, Tim Tebow's grandfather. That ain't got nothing to do with anything. And I appreciate, his passion for school. Let's not mistake passion for ignorance. And I think he's getting both of those kind of mixed up there. Because I guarantee you this, Tim Tebow didn't have to struggle for food when he was at Florida. I'm going to just leave it at that. Read a couple of these comments here. There's a lot that's came in since I started talking about that. Last comment, NFL-wise, I think Andre Becton put down Kaepernick at 50% of the QBs in the NFL. He hasn't played in 3 or 4 years. NFL players are more likely to have their career ended by injury. I think if you're good enough to move, then you move. I get that. It's a great point. Jet says they was just letting Zeke rest until the season started. They manufactured the sitting out story so others wouldn't view him not or practicing. That's interesting. Jay says, I agree with Tim Tebow. I said it on the show the other day, remember? I do remember you bringing something up about that. GKP. Hi, Josh, says Donna. I think a lot of these players are not happy. Plus, they see where the season is going. Plus, I think they see some coaching issues early that may or is causing a problem or will cause a problem down the line somewhere. So that was on my NFL topic, and those are great points that y'all are bringing up. Now, let's see here. Jet says, especially since his jersey is either number 1 or 2 all time in college sales. But he's alive still. And that's referring to Tebow. I'm guessing Jet. No way he wouldn't want part of that purse. I agree. And I wouldn't. Doesn't take your passion away. Andre Beckton says, but the schools will make billows of dollars. I think billows and billions. I think both will be correct. Then he comes from money. Exactly. That's why I didn't bring up. That's why I said I guarantee you he wasn't starving. And the reason he wasn't starving was because he came from money. And there's nothing wrong with coming from money. I'm not judging Tebow because he came from money. But what I'm saying is I'm judging his perspective. You can have an opinion, but don't get up here and judge everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And demonize those folks just because of your situation. Tebow needs to take the blinders off on this situation. And it says here also, finishing comment, what if your children is disabled for life from playing college sports? Exactly. I remember the offensive lineman from Rutgers several years ago. I forget his name. But I remember seeing when he did get paralyzed. And he's still recovering from that. I think it's at least 8 or 9 years later. But guess what? He didn't make any money off his likeness. But the university did. But the NCAA did. But everybody else did. That didn't work as hard as he did. So that's the thought. Donna says, at some point, your loyalty to your college runs a little thin when life hits and you need money to sustain your lifestyle, whatever your lifestyle may be. Jed also says, coming from a rich kid. Exactly. That's what Tebow is. Danny, I see you coming in, man. Appreciate that. Donna also says, Tebow was provoked the day he was burnt, just like that crazy Johnny Manziel. Well, Johnny is a whole nother situation. Good grief. Let's see. Bob, TalkBack founder, says, well, we should pay high school football since we want to pay these kids. High school don't make nearly as much, but colleges make billions and not sharing. Yeah, I agree. Donna says that should read Tebow was privileged. That's why I was wondering, provoked. I was wondering what that meant there. And see Verdell there. Jet says, yeah, black people ruined the American economy because they wanted to actually get paid for picking cotton. How dare they ruin the economy, Jet? Those Negroes wanted to get paid for that cotton picking they did back in the day. How dare they, right? Amazing. That's basically the same logic that Tebow's using. It's crazy. Donna said the day he was born, not burnt. She's typing too fast. I'm glad you answered both of those. Curious, when did Tebow get burnt? Did he do something I didn't know? But those are good points. GKP says it's all part of the path to professional, Josh. Hard work, dedication, and a free ride. Okay, so GKP, I think he agrees with Tebow. Verdell says that statement from Tebow sounded very privileged. No question. Verdell also says 3 out of 4 of, lost 3 out of 4 of these kids and their families need the money. No question. It goes beyond privilege. Tebow has the same mentality as the owners. That plantation mentality. I knew somebody was going to bring that up. Danny did it. He went there. That plantation mentality is everywhere in sports. From the owners of professional sports teams to colleges, it's about spending as little as possible to get as much as possible. And Jet says high schoolers are not working class adults. That's to the point Bob brought up there. Hey, look, those 15-year-olds, ain't no telling. But you know what? But to be real, that's why I said, man, that was why I brought up Tim Tebow's statements, because I just felt like so many of y'all hit it on the head, man. It's just speaking from a place of ignorance as well as privilege. And that is something I can't put up with. I can't do it. I commend Tebow for everything in his career. I commend his faith in Jesus. I mean, we share in common. But that doesn't mean that we agree on everything. We're still different people. And I think one of the problems that some people have, people like Tebow, is that they don't open up their minds. to somebody else's perspective. And in this case, he's not doing that. He's just not doing it, man. You cannot say the things that he said and sincerely think about some of the teammates. I'm sure Tebow played with plenty of guys on those Florida teams that didn't have no money in college. There were guys, and I'm not sure if there's any guys that he played with, but I know some guys that were in college with him at the same time. They went after Tebow after this because they know he knows the struggles that they went through in college. You know, just struggling to eat the next day, pay for food, get some water. I mean, it really got pretty bad. I'll never forget hearing the story about Shabazz Napier. Y'all remember him winning the national title the first year with UConn's coach is no longer there. I can't believe I forgot his name. But that not that long ago, a team that beat the Josh Pastner-led Memphis Tigers in the AAC tournament. When Shabazz, he came after Kemba Walker at UConn. Shabazz Napier said he couldn't even pay to afford to eat in college. You know, and there were many days he went hungry with nothing. So I'm just saying, man, you gotta look at perspectives of others, and you just can't be selfish with your line of thinking. I think what Tebow was saying there, and the way he said it was extremely selfish and extremely privileged. So hopefully, you know, he takes a look at that. You know, I'm not, you know, judging him as a person or anything. But as far as that statement, I'm taking that as it is. Pulling any punches. So it is what it is, man. I know, you know, Stephen A. Smith has a fair point that anybody can bring up, you know, their own opinions, and they can. And look, even, you know, GKP, you bring it up, you agree with Tebow, I have no problem. You know, you're my guy, has no problem, just like anybody else on here that agrees with Tebow. But I just, you know, unashamedly give my opinions on it. And it's just one of those things, man. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. I hadn't heard any developments with, just a couple of minutes left here, but I hadn't heard any new developments with the situation with the NCAA and paying players as far as the state of California is concerned. Last I heard was what I talked about on the show last week, was the fact that, you know, it's really just waiting on a signature from the office of the governor of the state of California. And boom, bam, boom, you'll have quite the situation on your hands when it comes to the fair pay for play, I think is what it's called, bill in the state of California. So we'll see what happens there. But I do think within the next few years, I think we're going to have some type of agreement where college players are going to have to end up getting paid in some shape or fashion. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening in that aspect. Hopefully, I know it's probably going to be next week where we start our segment with Dominic. I know he hit me up. He had a meeting going on, so I definitely understand that. Dominic said he's expected to sign it. Okay, well, I appreciate it. I'm glad you chimed in, Dominic. Came in there, because I know something probably ran long with you, but it's no problem. We can debut it next week and get this thing rolling, because I can't wait for y'all to hear Dominic's perspective on things. Also, if you want to get a thought on what Dominic thinks, he's also written several articles already for TalkBackLiveNetwork.org, so y'all can go check that out on our website, where you can also listen to the show and all our shows and see some past things from our other contributors on there as well. But that's going to do it for me on today. Now, I appreciate you listening, for watching, and all of that stuff, for commenting. A lot of comments came in on today, and it is much appreciated. I do not take any of it for granted. And so that's going to do it for me today. Coming up later on, maybe something, who knows. But anyway, we're going to be back tomorrow. Talk Back Live with Bob and Josh, 8 to 10, so y'all stay tuned for that. But as for me, I'm out, and I'll see you later.
Are you tired of going to the doctor with the same issue over and over again and never getting any relief? Are you tired of buying all types of vitamins and supplements, hoping but not knowing for sure that they will keep you healthy? Or are you getting enough of the right kind of nutrients that your specific body needs? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you need a nutritional blood analysis. With a nutritional blood analysis, we can take one drop of blood from a prick of your finger and analyze your body's nutritional needs, nutritional deficiencies, and nutritional imbalances. This analysis can provide an early warning of possible future health challenges so you can make the changes now to avoid the negative outcome. A nutritional blood analysis can be used to monitor a health challenge before and after adopting an approach to restore health and balance. It will also allow you the ability to determine the effectiveness of various approaches to restoring and balancing your health. So don't wait. Make your appointment. Stop guessing with your health. Know what works for sure. 901-602-7063.
Graphics Printing, located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, a complete print shop for all your printing needs. They do it all. Color copies, resumes, funeral programs, rubber stamps, full-color business cards, wedding and graduation invitations, and more. 30-plus years of quality work and service. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, Tennessee, 901-345-9294. Graphics Printing. CJ Used Appliances, located at 3530 Jackson Avenue here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-487-7882. CJ Used Appliances have the best prices in town, sales and service, heating and air. Also the best appliances you'll find anywhere in the Mid-South. Refrigerators, microwave stoves, washers and dryers, deep freezers, dishwashers, whatever you need in used appliances. And folks, I'll tell you, they're the best used appliances anywhere you'll find. That's CJ Used Appliances, 3530 Jackson Avenue. All appliances come with warranty. You can call them at 901-487-7882. Again, 901-487-7882. CJ Used Appliances. C&S Motors Auto Sales, located at 2508 Summer Avenue, here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-323-8778. C&S Motors Auto Sales has been around since 1984. Go by and see Chris today for some of the best pre-owned and used vehicles in the city. They have SUVs, minivans, cars, trucks, whatever you're looking for in pre-owned used vehicles. Hey, you can find it right there at C&S Motors Auto Sales. See Chris since 1984. They will treat you right. Call them at 901-323-8778. That's 901-323-8778. 2508 Summer Avenue, C&S Motors Auto Sales.
This is Sergeant Chris Richardson with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, here to explain the Tennessee Hands-Free Law, which is a new state law effective July 1st, 2019. In Public Chapter 412, it makes it illegal for a driver to hold a cell phone or a mobile device with any part of their body, to write, send, or read any text-based communication, to reach for a cell phone or mobile device in a manner that requires the driver to no longer be in a seated driving position or properly restrained by a seatbelt, to watch a video or a movie on a cell phone or a mobile device, and to record or broadcast video on a cell phone or mobile device. So, can I still talk on my cell phone while driving? Yes. A driver is permitted to use an earpiece, headphone device, or a device worn on a wrist to conduct a voice-based communication. The driver may use one button on a cell phone or mobile device to initiate or terminate voice communication, and voice-based communication may also be used to send a text message. Learn more at handsfreetn.com.